So when we talk about investing in real estate, and this is probably more for my client side, but it's important for my agents to understand too. This is what your clients have been waiting to talk about all along. If you're speaking to your clients transactionally, and this is only about this house that you're buying or this house that you're selling, you're doing it all wrong. Every single purchase in the housing market is an investment, and you need to educate your clients. And you have a responsibility to make sure that your clients understand that the decisions that they make, not only in the buying and the selling, but how they keep their home, the total investment, the total property cost is more important than the actual purchase and the financing of it itself. So today we're going to be talking about investing in real estate. There are some simple steps to get you started for those that haven't, and there's some good reminders that we're going to go over for those of you that are already involved. So investing in real estate might seem simple. It might seem as simple as, just buying a property and collecting money on it. But as far as complication is concerned, it couldn't be farther from the truth. Don't stop listening. Don't stop worrying about it because I used the word complicated. I didn't say impossible. This guide that we're going to talk about today is going to help you understand how to invest in real estate successfully, what you need to be looking for, and the things that could get you in trouble. Some visibility around the corners that you may not be thinking of yourself. While I like to keep these conversations short because they can be incredibly cumbersome and create a lot of anxiety between my home buyers, um, it's still important that we have this topic. And now that the election is over and that a bunch of you have been sitting on money wondering, when am I going to get back into my investment plan? When am I going to get back into purchasing my home? Now that the election is complete, you can either have a sigh of relief or continue to live in a state of anxiety, but this is an opportunity to do business. So when it comes to money, take the politics out of it and understand that there is opportunity no matter which political party is running our system. So make sure that you understand, trust, and this whole operation today will be worth your while. So step one, I need you to understand how to create a strategic investment business plan. The first step in determining how you're going to be able to invest in real estate is going to be creating a detailed investment business plan for yourself. This plan has got to outline strategy, goals, target market, types of investment. It should also include some of your financial protections that you need. What are your expected returns on your investment? Is there a timeline? And what type of risk management strategies are you willing to put into place? Analyzing market trends and competitive positioning is also essential, but you should be partnering with someone that has access to those types of tools and who understand how to read it. Because as I've been a data person in technology for a long time, I have to tell you, it doesn't matter how much data you're warehousing or how much data is at your disposal. If you don't know what to actually do with it, it's like having all of the internal components that you need to make a great salad, but because you don't know how to put it together or how to put things in the right order or what the refrigeration temperature is or when you should eat it or what your guests are going to be expecting to be served, all of those things, regardless of your well-structured plan, will not be able to guide your decisions. So I want to make sure that you can actually utilize the knowledge you're going to gain today to even attract potential partners in investment of real estate and potentially investors that are willing to let you use their money for your investment strategy. So you want your investment plan to be specific as possible. You need to be able to determine the best methods to reach your goals. To be exact, you need to make sure that you have a strategy for your properties and outline a target goal to be able to achieve that strategy. So there's several different strategies that people like to use. There's the buy and hold. This is where your real estate investment outlines involve you keeping the properties long term. There's the fix and flip. This involves grabbing properties that need improvement right out of the gate. You're going to do the repairs and then you're going to sell it for the profit at the right timing. There's the turnkey approach. This type of investment doesn't need any work. It has tenants in place even. Sometimes includes property management services already ready to go. Already ready to go. Cool. I'll be editing that out. That is just a complicated phrase. Real estate investment trusts. These are called REITs, REIT. REITs are a paper asset. They trade on the stock market just like any other stock would. These are an excellent way to invest in real estate without actually having to own any property directly or understanding how to do the maintenance or having to deal with tenants. The BRRRR method: buy, rehab, rent, refinance, repeat. This is when you buy a property, fix it, rent it out, do a cash out refinance, and then use the money to buy the next property. It's an excellent real estate investment strategy. And if you're looking to build a large portfolio, essentially for, in best case scenarios, retirement, so that your primary responsibility is housing representation for your portfolio instead of working a 9-to-5 job, it's a great way to do that. The BRRRR method is tried and tested. Crowdfunding has become very popular today. Real estate crowdfunding allows investors to pool resources and invest in projects like new developments or even acquisitions. It doesn't require a lot of capital. You can cash out in 2 to 5 years on most of those types of deals. Wholesaling, you're going to get a lot of conversations on wholesaling, especially with the fluctuations on interest rates. With a strategy like this, you never own the property. You're going to find a property that you can buy below market value, put it under contract, and then you're going to sell it to an investor for a profit. Literally, by the time it closes, if you can't resell it or wholesale it, you're going to either dump the contract or you will have sold it between these investors for a profit. You need a very diverse network and an ability to market these types of things incredibly efficiently and understand contracts. You want to partner really well with someone that knows how to work contract languages in multiple states to be able to do this. The key here is to find deals where the seller, the wholesaler, and the investor all win. And in this strategy, you being the wholesaler. And then there's FRAC. FRAC ownership is similar to kind of timeshare. Fractional ownership is when an investors each own a share of the property and the benefits and responsibilities. If you're not sure which one is going to be the strategy for your business, we can certainly deep dive, and you can call us here at Keystone to be able to help you with any of that, any of those explanations, or better understanding for you to be able to strategically place yourself in a position. So with strategy being step one, step two would be for you to start a holding company. You're going to have to set one of these up. A parent company needs to be able to own and manage the business and or the asset. It is a good idea to look up the legal stuff before you get too far into the weeds with it yourself. A good real estate attorney is exceptional at this. Business attorneys are also this is right there in their wheelhouse. It's a good idea to make sure that you create a holding company in the area that you're interested in doing business. You are going to decide on that business structure that we just talked about, but then you're going to pick whether you're going to be LLC or corporation, get all the necessary paperwork, things filed. This takes some time. So this is why it is early in the steps. You're going to draft up an operating agreement that outlines how your company's got a purpose, what's the structure and the governance. You're going to consider how your holding company is going to manage its subsidiaries, the financial oversight, the strategic direction. All of you that have done long-term investing with me before in real estate are just foaming at the mouth right now. This is your go-to. These are the things that you like to do to be able to work within the different states that we have compiled these types of purchases together. Once this plan is established, your holding company can then provide advantages like organizational flexibility, better asset protection, increased financial leverage so that you can continue future ventures. Number 3 is actually finding investment properties. I do have several investors that simply put me on a retainer for my advisement, just to make sure that they don't fall into any holes or walk around the corner into a train. But more often than not, the step three is where you want to partner with a really good realtor, someone that has the experience, understands the investment market, not just the buying and selling of houses. Inventory has hit an all-time low, especially in Florida since the pandemic. So finding real estate investment properties is not easy. However, there are several different ways to scout out some good deals. It's going to take some work. So you're going to have to make sure you've got a real estate partner that you trust and that you know they have the availability to help you with this planning. Once you start building a portfolio of cash flowing properties that start to appreciate in value, you're going to agree that it's worth it. And here's some of the strategies on how you can find investment properties. You can actually do cold calling. Again, I expect the real estate agent that you're working with or that you chose to do this heavy lifting for you. But the cold calling, find the names of rental property owners, look through tax records. Once you know who owns these properties, actually, sometimes you're going to have to do a little bit of sleuthing, but you'll be able to find phone numbers. You'll be able to find how they've got these properties registered. If the property's under a business entity or an LLC name, for example, you can definitely check with whichever Secretary of State site that you have so that you can see who the official owners are of the different properties. Um, Filing information, for example, is typically public record, but don't be afraid to just start with a simple Google search for what you're looking for. You'll be surprised how calling a tenant directly might actually just get you the information that you need and all the contact info. Joint venture partnerships. A lot, in fact, I would say most investors have already looked through all of the online listings and are now searching for off market properties. To find good deals like that, you've got to expand your reach. You've got to partner with several real estate agents that understand that the conversations have started, but they haven't put those properties on the market yet per the choice of the owner. There is a timing aspect involved, but the more relationships you can build with real estate agents, the better, because when they hear about it, they can contact you and typically tie the deal together before anything becomes market official. Expand that reach. You need to be able to locate those properties with the tools that real estate agents have. So take a few of us out to coffee, maybe buy us a lunch if we get you some good information. The ones that get you information quickly and the ones that communicate with you often are going to be your best partners in this. If you flip the properties, you can tip, they will typically earn their commissions through the flip itself. You concentrate on the investment that you were doing with the property. Don't be afraid to take on experts to be able to help you out. They have their ways of making money through helping you. So have an open, honest conversation. Tell them who you are, tell them what you want to do, and they'll be able to tell you where they can make money by helping you achieve those things. If you're going to hold real estate in a portfolio, you need to be prepared to pay them a finder's fee for finding these properties for you, or make sure that they're still allowed to capture the commission from the side that is, if there's anything offered from the sellers, they can negotiate that usually pretty effectively. Tax liens and auction sales. You can search for those online. There's a lot of foreclosure auctions. However, do your due diligence on the properties. Show up ready to bid and make sure you're not walking into some ridiculous loan situation or multiple vendors that have already put liens on these properties and there's no way for you to capture that money back. But it's very popular, typically during a more of a foreclosure and recovery market, which we're not in currently. There's a lot of rumor, a lot of chatter about, because of the higher interest rates that people have had to buy houses under, if the current inflation continues on its path, people are going to find their housing, which is their largest bill, very difficult to afford. So being able to reach out to those people and help them out of a difficult situation, because having their home foreclosed on is a much worse situation than utilizing you or a real estate agent to sell that property first and protect their credit so they can ultimately buy something in the future. Postcards, direct mail, simple stuff, right? Canvas a neighborhood or owners of specific properties. Mail out postcards. A nice handwritten letter, believe me, goes a long way, and it'll indicate interest of buying their property. If they don't respond to you, they're not interested. Don't give up the horse. They might be interested at some point. And if you see something that's kind of needs a little more tender loving care on the outside, chances are it does on the inside as well. So you can usually take advantage of that conversation. Real estate agents, let real estate agents know that you are in the market for investment properties. I know I get at least two or three a day from people that are looking to invest or people representing investment companies in the area. They want to do fix or flips. Again, for the real estate agents that are on the call with me today, please note, be honest, ask them questions, ask what their expectations are. If they're looking to leverage what would be your commission to drive a better deal on the property, that's not going to be lucrative for you. Don't be afraid to be honest and tell them nope. Tell them what you're all about and how and when you are available to help them with their searching. Also, please talk about what type of properties they're looking for. If they are literally sheets to the wind and have no idea, oh, I'm open to anything, then they are not a serious investor and they don't understand and they're not getting the type of advice that we're giving to you today about making sure they're specializing in a certain area so that they know how they can actually maintain their portfolio strategy. And then, of course, partnering with other investors. People that are truly interested in this need to educate. So they should attend investor groups, look for investors who wish to partner with someone else, thoroughly vet and potentially partner to ensure that they've got some experience and make sure that the resources that are available to them create a detailed partnership agreement. Just because they have a fancy spreadsheet that's doing some smart math for them right in front of you does not make them a good partner to work with. You need to find people that you can trust, and you need to put the legal documentation in place to give you each clear responsibilities, clear line of action, and exit strategies if things just don't work out. Little flash up to Zillow. Zillow is still one of the key market search engines out there, and it's kind of a go-to site for people that are looking for homes in the United States. They attract a whopping, 231 million unique visitors every single month. So you can easily filter listings by location, price range, lot size, home types, status. When checking out listings, you can find info on how long the home's been on the market, its purchase history, taxes that may or may not have been paid, what type of property it is. Don't build a story. Call an agent if you're finding it on Zillow, or call the owner directly if you are interested and ask the right questions. Make sure they know what your intent is. If they are difficult to work with on an initial phone call, chances are they're going to be a whole lot worse when you start throwing paperwork in front of them. And if you're dealing directly with owners, do not assume that they know what they're doing or they know what kind of paperwork that you're putting in front of them. Be open. Again, partnering with the real estate will get you out of a lot of this jam, but be open and honest and transparent in what you're trying to achieve. And for obvious reasons, use the state accredited contracts for real estate so that you can and do your due diligence, but make sure you can fill them out correctly. And typically those will be reviewable and acceptable by any attorney in the state. Step 4 would be evaluations. Once you have spotted potential real estate investment properties, it's time to start digging into the details, especially before you move forward. We call this the due diligence period. Gather the property's history, recent sale prices, things that have happened in the area, homes that have sold in the area. You need to look at market trends. It's also very good to look into rents, check the property's conditions, know local zoning rules to make sure you're not going to fall into any traps, and building code requirements. Depending on the neighborhood that you're in, hit some of their social groups and see what's the chatter, what's everybody complaining about. There may be a new ordinance that's coming through or a new city zoning that's happening, and they're building a Walmart right next to your community that you're looking to purchase in. If that's not your cup of tea and that's not what you're looking for, then don't buy in that market. Cash flow. Got to understand projections. As a part of your business plan, you want to create a cash flow forecast. And this is based on property's income, the expenses, typical vacancy rate, meaning how much of your yearly time is it rented? What's the percentage of that? You're typically looking for 100% or as close to it as possible, that you want it to be rented, supplied by a tenant. You also want to add overhead expenses by filling in that business entity, advertising cost, real estate, commissions, finder's fees, taxes. These are all the costs of doing business. And don't forget, if you're using other people's money or banks' money, you need to know what the mortgage principal and interests are. These all get deducted from your rental income on a long-term investment strategy or your gross selling price on a fix and flip to see if the property is going to have positive or negative cash flow when it's time to turn it. And what are your margins? What are your expectations so that you know what you're targeting? You don't have to you don't have to take it on the chin because you want to sell quickly. Hold on to your investment a little bit longer. If the market is acclimating correctly, sometimes time is your best friend. Also, you must consider the consequences if you sell. If you need a couple of real scenarios, I can tell you here's at least one. I can probably think of two off the top of my head that new investors don't often consider. So, example number one, if I am planning to fix and flip a property, I am subject to short term capital gains and cannot do a 1031 exchange. Reinvesting those profits into a new property to avoid that tax burden on a 1031 is not going to be allowed. Example two, if I like to buy and hold a property, take the depreciation on my taxes and sell it before the 27.5 years on a rental or residential investment or 39 years on a commercial property, I am subject to pay depreciation recapture on those properties. So if you think you're just going to go out there and become a flipper because you saw it on HGTV and it looks easy enough for that cute couple to do it, maybe my husband and I, or my wife and I, or my personal partner and I can do the same thing. Understand the metrics that we use. We talk cap rate, we talk gross rent multipliers, we talk cash on returns, we talk about evaluation potentials for profitability. Don't get too far into the weeds on all the terms versus following the money and understanding how much is it going to take to get involved? What's it going to take for my time and my energy for my investment? How long am I going to plan to have this investment? And what are my potential returns? How much money am I expecting that I want to make? Because that may tell me how long I'm going to hold on to the property. Step 5, funding. Yeah, everybody's going to be surprised. I'm going to get hit in the comments, and I'm getting laughy faces that are climbing up right now. People, I realize that I'm waiting until halfway through this conversation to talk about finding your funding. And as a real estate broker, I'm telling you, I would typically advise you to find your funding first. But it's different when you're a real estate investor. So bear with me a second. When you're going to get into real estate investing, the next thing you need to consider is how much do you truly need to invest in real estate and how you're going to get to that money. Depending on the type of investing you're doing, the properties you have your eye on, your financial situation, your financial buying strength, you might even have access to various funding sources. There are things that you need to look at to provide this funding and security for this new investment strategy you decided to get involved in. Personal savings. You can use your own money, and it can be the cheapest way for you to finance real estate deals. Cash on hand will let you move quickly, and you don't have to worry so much about loans, mortgage, interest rates changes, and the time it takes to get it financed, you're losing investment opportunity. Conventional loans would be the next one. Conventional loans can be obtained by any credit union or a bank. There are, a ton of MLOs out there I can also refer for you. But credit unions, being nonprofit, offer a lower interest rate typically. And this is why their fees are usually a little more flexible. Loan approval process, however, is a little more drawn. So you need to take the good with the bad and decide whether this is going to serve a specific purpose. And they typically like to back investors that are serving their community. So make sure you have a meeting with these banks before you do business with them, and have a real conversation on how you're going to help each other, because they like to advertise that they help their local communities. If you're not actually doing that, they're not going to be so open to doing business with you. Next, government loans are a capability. You can use these loans from, you have limitations, but FHA or VA in the US, there are, even if you're into a little more rural setting, there are USDA loan availabilities out there for qualifying areas. And if you find that your financing options are open to that, certainly take advantage to smaller fees, easier terms, a little quicker financing option. These are all things that could be to your advantage. HELOC, home equity line of credit. If you already own a property that has significant equity in it, and again, this is, I have mortgages or I have liens against my property, and this is what the property's worth. That gap is your equity. How much money is it worth above its debt service? If you already have that, then you can use a line of credit against that equity to fund your next real estate investment. Essentially, you've done so well with this purchase, or you've paid so much of this purchase down, that you can use that remaining credit to essentially get yourself a credit card to buy other real estate properties. It works very, very well. You can also use it in your fixing and flipping plan, if that's the business plan you decide to go with, to be able to sink those funds into the investment of getting the other property ready to up and serve. Private money lenders are also available. I realize they have had a lot of names over the years, but let's just call them private money lenders. These are individuals or private companies that provide loans for real estate investments specifically. They believe in the real estate market. They believe in the safety behind putting those marketable properties as collateral. And it may even offer you some more flexible terms than a traditional bank, because they'll do probably a shorter timeline for you. And depending on your buying power, possibly less risk, as long as you're willing to sell your property in a short term. They're going to charge a little higher fees, but in the long run strategy, you may find this to be a much faster and an easier conversation to have, especially if you're going to be building a portfolio quickly. Hard money lenders are a little bit different. These guys typically have a short-term period, like 18 months or less. Hard money loans can be for as long as, I've seen, 3 years, but they involve a lender or an investor group that's giving you money directly. Hard money loans are most common for fix and flips, because they do not have a strategy to be kept for a long period of time. You have confidence in the strength and the mobility of the market, so you want to be able to continue to do that. Seller financing may become more and more popular if the interest rates stay high. But in this scenario, the seller of the property will actually act as the lender, allow you to make payments directly to them instead of to a bank. So they will also probably charge a higher interest rate, or push you for a shorter term, or offer a balloon payment, meaning that they will finance you for the first 5 years. But after that, you are required to invest a loan somewhere else if you're not able to pay it off yourself. SIDRAs, the self-directed individual retirement accounts, can be leveraged in this too. This method will allow you to use funds from, like, your IRA to invest in real estate, providing potential tax benefits to that as well. These are usually government backed, and they support that type of tax protection so that you can utilize your investment without withdrawing the investment itself. We talked about partnerships and joint ventures a little bit. You can always partner with other investors, pool your resources, invest in real estate. I know a lot of my Foreign clients like to do this. They like to do this with family and relatives and friends, and they usually have pockets of investors in their community that like to share this together so that they can spread the risk out and leverage different skill sets of the different members of their family and friends group to be able to essentially create a long-term wealth plan for each other. And then, of course, your immediate family and friends. You can always do this yourself. You could be a great resource for investing, structuring loans so that everybody gets a return on the investment, provides a short-term payback date, say, 24 to 36 months, and have a solid plan on how everybody is going to get their money. One of you will need to be the real estate expert. Somebody else will need to bring their skills to it as the primary investor. Again, the person may only offer sweat equity in maintaining and rebuilding and whatever they're going to do as far as the business strategy, but everybody needs to pull their weight. Which moves us on to the next step. So now you've done all this, you built a plan, you found where you're going to get your money, you've got everything ready to go, you've got your protection, your legal protections in place so that you can actually go out and purchase a property. Now let's go actually buy it. Let's go buy your investment property. Your best strategy for this is create a short list of properties that meet the criteria, work with your friendly real estate agent, and go actually look at them. If you have done your homework well up till now, you should have a pretty solid idea of what a potential investment looks like. And yeah, it needs to be something that you can tolerate working with, in a neighborhood that you can tolerate working with, in proximity that you can tolerate driving to. All of these things need to be considered. If you see one that hits all these check boxes, make an offer. You've got the agent that can draw up all the paperwork. If you insist on using a local attorney to do that, I find that a little more expensive, but please feel free. Use a local attorney to draft all the paperwork. A few things that you want to consider is whether or not you're going to keep existing tenants in place or whether you're going to buy a vacant property so that you can handle it on your own. This is that period where you need to verify incomes and expenses by getting the rent rolls and seeing the landlord's profit and loss statements, and the accounting records that were done on the properties. This will also show you that they have kept the property up to date and where were they getting the funds to do that. Once you have secured an offer and secured a deal, you've passed that due diligence period, then it's just a matter of informing your lender, securing those funds that you already had lined up, and get yourself a closing date. Hire at home inspector, get through an inspection report. You do not want to jump into a money pit. I reference that in one of my favorite 80s movies all the time, to make sure that people understand how ugly this can get. So take the time, take the energies, walk the property several times if you need to. And to simplify the process, work with a real estate agent. We have investment vision that you don't have. We are going to see things and be able to help guide you around the corners without walking you in front of a bus. Believe me, the real estate commission that you're going to lose and allow them to capture is worth it. It puts skin in the game for them. They're going to help you find the right properties for you to be able to do this, and offer them you do a good job for me on the purchase up front. You have the opportunity to make money again on the back end when we sell this property. You should have a great relationship and a partner in your business plan through a real estate agent that knows they're worth their salt. Then you need to know how to manage all this stuff, right? You can definitely do all of that by yourself that we just talked about. But as your portfolio grows, you are going to need a solid team around facilitating the growth of your business and maintaining the quality of your portfolio. No different than if you're buying a bunch of stocks. You are relying on the companies you're investing in to have good strategic planners, managers, and good teams that can actually build the product or the services that they represent that makes them so valuable, that made them interesting to you to begin with. So make sure that you're finding a facilitation of growth in this as a business. Find advisors, find a good team of professionals or a good management service to be able to navigate some of these complexities that you're going to run into. This will help you find properties and maintain the properties in place. By keeping that team, you're going to be a lot more equipped to handle approaching investments and how to strategically deal with them, regardless of changes as major as a political election to as minor as a broken pipe in the yard for a sprinkler head. The key type of individuals that I like on my team, absolutely real estate agents, real estate attorneys. Again, real estate attorneys. Not every attorney. Just because they have a law degree does not mean they know what they're doing in real estate. So be specific. Mortgage brokers and lenders, accountants, property managers. Typically, some of your real estate agents, your really good ones, have this experience too. You're going to need a couple of GAs, contractors, or inspectors at your fingertips too to be able to help you with problems. Insurance agents, especially in the state of Florida, you need to make sure you're getting insurance guidance almost before you even purchase the property, because you need to understand what that total cost of investment is going to be. And then, of course, a title company, a reputable title company that can get paperwork done quickly for you. They're doing the right backgrounds and clearing searches so that you never run into somebody else's mysterious lien from some gardener 20 years ago that never got paid. And now with interest, you as the new owner owe them $10,000. You never want that situation to happen. So make sure they're doing full background and title search as well as local municipality searches. Wouldn't be a strategy session with me if I didn't pitch technology. So you should also have good, strong tech to manage your properties. One tech that does it all. That way that you and your team can always access it. So regardless of what real estate strategy you're choosing, you're going to need to keep your finances organized, be able to collect and track your rents, track the vendors you're working with, prioritize maintaining of the properties, put it on a calendar that you're expecting that you're going to have air conditioner maintenance that's happening quarterly. This is what that costs, or this is what an overarching air conditioning contract talks about. This is what HVAC replacement would cost in 5, 10, 15 years, depending on the type of usage. And in Florida, we run it 365 days a year. So these kinds of things all need to be accounted for in advance of this investment. Dedicating your real estate investment software to the forefront of running your business is going to help you crunch numbers and analyze your investments very, very quickly. So you can take advantage of it, again, just like those quick marketing softwares that they have out there to buy and sell stocks. It should be just that easy for you to make decisions. These tools are going to make it pretty easy for you, whether you're managing the money or determining property values. And believe me, when it's time to sell it, you're going to want that at your fingertips. And your advisors are all going to want to agree on the numbers, because the software never goes to the house. You need to understand that your team that is working with you on this agrees to the numbers that the software is projecting. There are a lot of different types of investment properties out there too. I would be remiss if I didn't at least go over them for you real quick. The world of real estate is pretty diverse. So with all of these different types of properties serving different needs, and pay attention to your local government strategies on what's being built and what they're expecting to build in the next 2, 3, 5 years. You're probably familiar with most of the property types that are out there, but let's just review them real quick for you. You've got residential. That's any property that's used for residential purposes. That includes single family homes, condos, duplexes, fourplexes, townhouses, multifamilies. This is all very important for you to understand. Residential property. Commercial is a little different. Commercial property is used for business, like gas stations, grocery stores, hospitals, doctors' offices, hotels, offices, parking lot facilities, restaurants, shopping centers. I could go on and on, but these are traditionally businesses. Industrial is commercial property that's used for manufacturing or production or storage and distribution. And then, of course, you have special purpose, public purposes, cemeteries, government buildings, parks, churches, schools. Those are special purpose properties. And then, of course, everybody's favorite, good old land. Any undeveloped property, vacant land, agricultural land, such as farms, orchards, ranches, Those are all encompassed under the land qualifier. So these are all things that you just have to kind of consider when you're talking about those. Lots of pros and cons to all of this. This isn't just a strategy, but you got to make a decision of whether or not investing in real estate matches up with your financial goals. How much risk are you comfortable with? And how much understanding are you going to have when I need access to fast money and real estate doesn't sell fast, at least not for the money that you necessarily want for? So, real estate's a great addition to a well rounded investment portfolio, but it by itself has got some challenges. Still, essential that you take some time and carefully make sure that you're considering all of the potential benefits as well as some drawbacks, right? Real estate has potential for very high returns through property appreciation and rental income, but the lack of liquidity of real estate as an asset is sometimes a challenge for people. They want to be able to access their money quickly, and real estate's not. It's a 30 to 60 to 90-day process at best for you to be able to get your money out of an investment. Diversification of an investment portfolio in real estate is fantastic, but property management and responsibilities and the associated cost of which has its headaches. Huge tax benefits, mortgage interest deductions, depreciation deductions, all of that. But market volatility and economic fluctuations can affect property values, and you have to understand that. Even the cost of sheetrock to doing repairs to keep a property up to date can affect how much profit you actually make on it. Ability to leverage investments through mortgage financing is fantastic. All banks and asset companies love to be able to leverage actual mortgageable properties as opposed to just signature loans. But the risks of bad tenants, high vacancies, and potential property damages sometimes scare them. So I want to make sure to address all of my comments at the bottom, or at least a few of them. I've got a lot more comments than I was expecting today. So thanks for that. I do love my live audience. Thanks for joining, everybody. How long does it take to make money in real estate investing? Back to what I was just saying. Making money in real estate investing takes time. There is no exact or perfect timeline. It will absolutely vary based on real estate investment, market conditions, individual strategies. I can tell you personally, in the Florida market, we have a supply and demand issue. So properties that can be fixed, flipped, and turned very quickly have a very lucrative approach to them. And people need housing. So the faster these flips can be done, the better. Patience, but a long-term perspective is my typical advisement when it comes to real estate. Most of my real estate associates live in one house, own multiple rental homes, and the home they live in that they start with becomes a rental home as they buy their next one, etc. Be patient. It's a long-term strategy most often, but it is necessary for you to have that patience to be successful in it. Next question. How do I start investing in real estate property? All right. Make sure to watch this whole video again. You might have joined late, but if you're curious on how to get cracking, grasp the local market. Check financing options. Explore those different investment strategies. Chat with some experienced real estate investors, financial advisors. Get some solid advice before you get involved in it. Don't forget, you need clear investment goals, and that timeline is important. If you're looking for a fast turn, real estate may not necessarily be for you. But if you're willing to sit there for the long haul, the risk is absolutely worth that timeline. What's the biggest risk of real estate investment? Real estate carries many risks. The value of properties can fluctuate. Unexpected expenses will absolutely arise, and factors like location and economic conditions can affect your income. Tenants can flat out stop paying rent or damage your property to a point that it has significant risk and cost to get it back up to spec. So it's important to do a complete tenant background check as well, get security deposits, etc., so you can recoup and recover quickly. But ultimately, the biggest risk of the real estate investment world, I would say, is time. You must have the ability to give this investment the time it needs to mature before you're looking to make a dollar. So, bringing it all together, learning how to get started in real estate for beginners can be tricky. With all the different factors and complex ideas that you need to wrap your head around, investing in real estate can be crazy expensive. Absolutely worth it. This is a great way to make money. The United States has a very clean and secure process of how to get this done. Real estate has been around for a long time and it's been managed ultimately the same way. A lot of challenges on the real estate agent side, but as far as buying and selling of properties, it's been orchestrated pretty consistent over the years. If this guide is helpful to you at all, I think you can use it as a great starting point to learn how to invest in real estate smartly. And you want to make sure that you're just listening to people that have done it, not just people that are teaching it. So I appreciate everybody's time and energy today. I realize there is a lot to deep dive into on this. If you want more information, you know how to find us. For those of you that have sent all the little hearts throughout the meeting, thank you so much. We appreciate your support. Keep going, keep growing, and I wish all of you the best in this new administration to make sure that you're investing wisely according to what meets you and your family's financial securities moving forward. If you need our advice here at Keystone, we are available for you, and that's why we're here. We'll talk to you soon. Thanks, everybody. Have a great weekend. Good night. Recording is stopped.